Okay. Welcome to the day 12 session on APM with Python. Today we are going to primarily talk about the concept of objects and their attributes and locators in APM. Before we begin about today's topic, were you guys able to go through the links I gave you guys the last time, in which we were supposed to understand about the Selenium locators? Did you all read through it? Are there any questions? If you have any questions from that link, please let me know. Go ahead and ask your question, please. Okay, fine. So you made it work. That's good. CSS selector, it says attribute should have at the rate. Okay. You are not sure about it. Fine. Any other question? Okay. Can you guys tell me the different types of locators which you understood from Selenium perspective? What are the different types of, or first of all, let's answer a basic question. What is a locator? When I say the word locator, what is a locator? So locator is a technique to identify the element of interest uniquely from a UI, right? Or an app or a web application or a mobile app, basically from a user interface. So locator is a technique to identify the element of interest uniquely from a UI. Okay. Now, in Selenium, the reason we are going to talk briefly about Selenium is because APM is largely derived from Selenium. So if we understand some perspective from the Selenium point of view, making it understandable from the APM point of view becomes a little more easier. So in Selenium, what are the different locator techniques? You can identify the object through their ID, name, XPath, CSS, document object model, link text, etc. These are the ways, correct? There are different variants, but primarily these are the major ways through which you can identify the elements using Selenium uniquely on a page. Okay. So you have got ID, name, XPath, CSS, DOM, and link text, which are primarily the ways through which you can identify the element on a page. Now, when we say we are going to identify the element on the page, let us first understand what information is the element itself carrying, which will help in its identification. So every element on the page is carrying some information with a help of which we are able to identify the element. And what is that information? Fine. Attributes or the HTML associated with the element. So the backend information which is associated with the element is primarily what provides you the platform from which the information about locators can be derived. So if you look at an HTML element, it is defined like this. For example, input element, name, type, okay. So this talks about a text box because it has got type text which has got the name property email and it is represented as email in here. Another one we can take button ID equal to and here it talks about a button which has got an ID property TDB1. It has got a type associated with it button and the text to display. Now it is very much possible that the object is not carrying any ID or name property. But if the object is carrying ID or name property, then these are always used first to understand the object locator or to create the locator. If the object is carrying ID or name attribute in their HTML information, then they are used first always to identify the element uniquely on the page because they are not supposed to be duplicated within the same page. Is this clear? ID and name, how we pick it from and from where? Okay. Now let's talk about the concept of XPath. What is an XPath? Or before an XPath, what is an XML document? Can you guys tell me what is an XML document? We discussed it as well when we were talking about the different types of ways through which we can pass data. It's a markup language, body of a website. Basically, XML is a language which was used to transfer data from one place to another. And the property of XML which makes it famous or the quality of XML. The reason XML is so famous is it allows user defined nodes, right? And there is a hierarchy in XML. You basically have parent child combination between nodes, right? And the nodes can also have attributes and text associated with it. For example, you can have a XML document called as books. You can have a book, it can have an attribute. And so on and so forth. You can have information available wherein last this root node or the book node closes. Now how can you use XPath to create locator of an object? So basically what we say is look at the document associated with the web element as if it is an XML document. Look at the HTML document as if it is an XML document, and then traverse the path required to reach the element, which becomes the XPath. Look at the HTML document as if it is an XML document and then traverse the path required to reach the element, which then becomes the XPath. That's how the XPath for that object is discovered. There are two types of XPaths which are created. Absolute, which is from the root. It will be from HTML, then let's say body, then let's say form, then let's say some input. Then you have got this @ property, the name which you will give, and simply the XPath closes. Or you can create a relative XPath. Relative XPath is relative to the node. Note how the syntax is changing. So instead of picking from the root node, we directly call the XPath from a node which is more prominent or is a landmark node. So for example, your input node itself is a landmark node. What do we mean by the word landmark node? A node which has either name property or ID property. So the path traversed from that node to the node of interest is basically the relative path. For example, let me give you here an analogy. Let's say you're ordering something from the market. Let's say you're ordering something from the local eating joint. Generally, how do you give your address? Do you give the complete address also stating city, state, country, pin code? Do you do that? So it's a 15-minute away eating joint from which you are ordering the food. We don't do that, right? We generally tell the person that have you seen this famous, let's say, temple, or let's say, have you seen this famous building, or have you seen this some famous landmark? You have to take a right turn from there, and then 2 blocks down, my house is there. Generally, that's how you speak, right? When somebody from the local area is trying to visit you. So you are providing information with respect to a landmark. Okay? Is it clear, Marian? Is it clear, Sameer? So we are providing information with respect to a landmark, but let's say you are trying to order something online. When you're trying to order something online, you generally provide your complete address. Let us say you are trying to order something from international location to whichever place you are residing in. You have to provide your complete address. You have to provide your city, state, PIN code, country name, etc., phone number. So you provide your complete information. That is your absolute address. Similarly, you have got absolute path which starts from the root node. Root node means the first node of the document, or you can have a relative information. For the absolute path, the slashes are single. For relative XPath, there are two slashes followed. And if the node has got an attribute, this is how you represent it. Any questions in here about XPath? Okay. And then you have got CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Okay, primarily it talks about the appearance. For example, uh, let us say you are telling somebody about your home address. So you are talking from the point of view of appearance. Instead of its location, you say the appearance. You say that once you come to that street, the house which is having two floors and has got a yellow exterior, that is my house. So you're talking about the appearance, right? So CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets, is basically a technology which was created to provide a uniform presentation of HTML elements across different pages. So instead of establishing at every page how the same element should look like and thus increasing the workload, the CSS allows you to declare in one common platform information about the display or appearance of different elements on a web page. Okay. For example, let me show you this website. If you look at this website, all the links of this website appears as if there are buttons. Wherever there is a link, they appear as if there are a button with a pale blue background and round corners. This is possible because of CSS. All the text which is concatenated within the H1 header tag appears in similar format. So their font, their style, their size is all same. So these are some of the basics I am telling you. So CSS is the way which the websites use to showcase or have a uniformity in appearance. And you can also use the CSS approach to identify the element of interest. But then the syntax to form the CSS changes. How will it change? You say CSS is equal to hash if the object has ID. Or you say CSS is equal to HTML tag followed by attribute is equal to value. Example, you say CSS is equal to input, name is equal to email. This is how the CSS is going to be represented for this XML, let's say. Is this clear? When do you use what is the question? I'll answer that. but I'm just trying to help you guys understand the way these different locators are created so that when you have a look at them, you understand, okay, this is how it is getting created, or you should be also able to create on your own. So this is the syntax of how the CSS associated with the element is defined. Now these are a little simplistic CSS I am creating, but the reason is to make you guys understand. I'll introduce complications as we move forward. Okay. And then you have got the DOM approach, which stands for Document Object Model. The DOM approach basically says that look at the page as if it is a tree, as if it is a hierarchy, and using that hierarchical information, create the locator value. So using the DOM approach, you can basically find the element like this: document dot form dot input, like this. So basically, you create a hierarchy and you can identify the element by their name or by their ID property. Just a minute, I'll be back. these are the approaches, and this is how you create their documentation. Now, where do we use what is the question, which is fine, and let me answer that. So there are some rules. If the object is ID or name attribute, we always use them. Rule number 2, if the object is not carrying ID or name, then we can either use XPath or CSS to locate the object. CSS is faster, but XPath is reliable. The reason XPath is reliable is because appearance associated with the object can change a little bit more frequently than their position or than their location. But having said that, both CSS and XPath carry equal weightage to be used to identify the object. And lastly, you use DOM. If you are not using any of the above techniques, you can use DOM. But we have to understand that the same object can be located using any of these techniques. Okay. Any questions in here? Anything which was not clear? Obviously, anything besides ID or name do make automation test flaky, because XPath is associated with location, CSS is located with appearance, and both can change frequently. During a time an application is under development, both these information associated with that of an object can change frequently. Right. Now, to make our lives a little easier, though it is not there in APM, so let me not talk about it to confuse you further. But nevertheless, there is something, if you are interested to know more about and you are working with Selenium, you can basically read about this tool. It's called CrowPath. Okay. It's a pretty good tool which helps in fetching the CSS and XPath locators, and you can read about it and then understand how to use it. And this is only if you are using Selenium and you need some help with object locations. Okay, so there is this tool available called as CrowPath. You can read about it and start using it. It's pretty much handy. Now let's come back to the concept of APM, or let's come back to the platform instead of HTML to that of an Android. So when we talk about an Android application, let us try to understand how the Android application looks like, or how is an Android application created with the help of their object information. Let's first understand that. So I'm opening a few links and I'll share them as well. So this is a good link to start your reading from. Okay. So basically, whenever an Android application is trying to get created, the first thing they create is something called as a layout, as to how the objects associated with that particular view will be represented. Will it be a table layout? Will it be a relative layout? Will it be a frame layout, a grid view, or what it would be like? Once the view associated with that of the object is decided, we basically then add these UI controls. Some of the UI controls which you see are button, text view, edit box, checkbox, toggle button, spinner, progress bars, pickers, image view. So these are some of the controls which are created. For example, edit text. So edit text basically is represented like this, as you can see. And this is how it looks like. It looks like a text box in your Android application. Similarly, if we look at a checkbox looks like this in an Android application. Let's say picker. This is a date time picker. This is how it is represented in a application. So you have at the topmost level something called as layouts. So this is how it is represented. You have layouts. Each layout has a view control. Inside the view control, you basically have the different types of UI elements available on the page. This is a link which talks about the same controls, but this is a link from the Android itself. So it talks about how a different layout is created and how the controls are then added. So you can further read this information to understand more about it. So what is a style, what is a view, what is a theme, what is a layout, what are the UI controls which are available. So this information can be read from the links which I have shared with you guys. Okay. So this is how it looks like. So the view class is the base class of all graphical UI objects, and they are collectively called as UI controls, the UI objects or widgets. The view group class is an invisible organizer that provides a variety of UI layouts. So the view basically is a class for all graphical UI objects or the UI controls, and the view group is a class which is an invisible organizer that tells you about the different types of UI layouts using which you can tell how the UI has to look like. So your view group will contain different view. So at the topmost level you have view group which contains layout. Each layout will contain their own view. Basically view means UI controls. Okay. You have got view which represents UI controls. You have got view group which represents layouts. You first have a view group which contains views. Clear? Is this clear? Definitely you have to review and read, but as we are talking right now, just trying to make these jargon simplified, that you have got view group, view group contains or carries layout information. Layout basically tells how the screen will look like. UI controls which are under the view are basically your text box, edit box, picker, image, link, etc. Okay. So each of these Android objects have their own attributes. For example, there will be a name property, then there will be a height, width, and other artifacts associated which we see when we look at the object backend information. So which tool do we use to take the snapshot of the screen of the UI and locate an element? We did that in the last class. So this is how the object information is available, like linear layout, It contains a text view. Text view object has got an ID property, a width property, a height property, a text property. Similarly, button has an ID, width, height, text, etc. So we use the UI automator and we launched our AVD. We took the snapshot through which we were able to locate the object information. For example, if you look at the screen with the object information 5, do you see it has got these attributes? So you have index 4, text 5, then the ID property is represented as resource ID. There is a class name, there is a package, and then some other attributes available. All these UI controls are inside this view group, which is effectively the layout. Right? We know how to reach this screen, right? This image. I hope you guys remember. So let's do this small thing right now. What you have to do is, we will try to automate the addition operation of the calculator app, which is the native app of your mobile. Okay. We are trying to automate, we will try to automate the addition operation of the calculator app, which is the native app of your mobile. And let us say we will try to automate 5 plus 6 is equal to 11. So you have to identify the locator information associated with 5, 6, the symbol, equal to symbol, and the answer text, right, where 11 will be displayed. This information, like what object it is, what type of attribute it is available with, through which we can create the locator, we need to know. Is the question clear? So go ahead, open your UI automators, launch your AVD. Inside the AVD, open your calculator app, then take a screenshot and find out the information associated with these particular UI elements so that we can integrate that information inside the automated script which we will be creating to automate the addition operation scenario of the calculator native app. Please do these steps and let me know the information you guys capture. Go ahead, everyone. So basically my UI Automator is still showing this screen, but nevertheless I can still figure out. So this is the 5 I selected. It has got this resource ID property. Resource ID is the ID of the object. I have captured this property so I can basically capture this information to be used for locator. Similarly, the sixth element is the next element. I capture this ID property as well. You guys can do the same. Then I have to capture the plus icon. So plus icon is here. This is division, multiplication, subtraction, addition. So with the addition operation, the resource ID associated is this. I'm capturing my resource IDs. Then you have got the equal to symbol. And then I have to capture information where the text is displayed. So this information. So this is my text view. Okay. This information. I've captured the locator values as per my AVD and my UI Automator. I request you guys to do the same at your end. Right. So you guys are able to understand how you have captured these locators? Great. So one major obstacle is over. So when we are trying to automate a scenario, there are two steps. It's a two-step process. You have to first identify the object and then you have to perform an action on it. Right? It's a two-step process. Automate, identify the object and perform an action on it. So what could be the action? Action could be either typing or clicking or maybe verifying something or maybe selecting, right? And these actions are effectively your commands of APM for the object. So once your object is recognized, you will be performing a command over that object, which is effectively your command in APM. So either you will be typing on that object or you will be clicking on that object, or if it's a drop down you would be selecting, or if it's something you are trying to verify then you will be verifying. Once you do these two process, you are able to automate your manual action. Do we all agree? So what is now left? The thing which is left now is to understand the actions which we are going to perform on the object. So this is the APM API documentation. Have a look at it, guys. Which talks about the different types of commands which are associated with the APM. For example, do you see these actions? Say send keys. Send keys do what? The sequence of keys to type. It requires a parameter and its example usage is once your element is identified, you say element dot send keys and you provide the text. This is the description associated with it. Similarly, let us try another. Let's say click. Once you identify the element, you simply say el dot click. Then there are other different commands like find element, find elements. So these are the different types of APM commands which are associated with an object type. For example, frame. For example, UI object. For example, mouse, touch. At the application level, at the device level, at the activity level, at the orientation level. So just explore through it. Spend around 10 minutes on it. Just explore through it. Just let it get imbibed to you. Okay? Spend some time on it, please. Okay, so you guys have looked at it. So you get a basic idea, and then we can always refer to it time and again as we require more information. Correct? You guys get a basic idea now? Any questions about any of the concepts which we have discussed so far? Fine. So what we will do is we will take a short break right now, and after the break we are going to try and see how we can automate the scenario for which we captured the locator values. So I'll see you guys in next 5-10 minutes. Okay? Please take a break right now. During the break my voice will be on mute. So after the break when we meet we are going to automate the scenario which we have just discussed for which we captured the information of locators. Thank you. Okay, let's resume the session. I hope you guys are back from the break. Fine. Great. Do you guys remember the concept about desired capabilities we discussed the other day? So where and why did we use desired capabilities? Can you guys tell me? For APM server to connect with the device. Okay. Any other answer? So basically, desired capabilities as a concept was useful to set the environment. Okay? Desired capabilities as a concept was useful to set the environment for automation. I hope you guys remember this. We saw this link where we spoke about the desired capabilities and the different types of desired capabilities which are available for an Android phone, for an Android environment. Right? We saw this link. To set the environment for automation, we use the desired capabilities. And these are our general capabilities like platform name, device name, app, browser name. For Android, you have also got something called as app activity, app package, app wait, AVD launch, timeout. Do you remember looking at this link? Okay, why don't you guys look at it again? Spend another 5-10 minutes on it. Just go through it again. I understand it's been a little while. Just read through it again and just have a look at the general capabilities for an Android. Read about these capabilities. I'm sharing the names. Just read about these specific capabilities. Platform name, platform version, device name, AVD launch, timeout, app package, app activity. What do they stand for? Okay. And in general, just read about desired capabilities. Done? Are you able to recall? Do you understand these different capabilities? What they stand for? Okay. So in here, two capabilities are interesting. One is the app. So app is basically the path which you provide of your APK or the name which you provide of your application. For example, in here, you do not have app available because it's a native application. So there is no need to provide any path, but you have something called as a app package and app activity. So what is an app activity? An app activity is the name for an Android activity which you want to launch from your package. So effectively it is the very first screen which you would like to see when your application is launched. An app package is the Java package of your Android app which you want to run. Okay. So app package is the name of your package of your Android application which you want to run. And app activity is the screen which you want to launch from that package. So sometimes we are unable to figure out, especially in real-time scenarios, what is the app activity which we would like to launch when we are launching the app package. App and app package we are generally able to figure out, but app activity is something which we have to sometimes debug or capture by using some methods. We will come to that a little later, but right now, platform name, platform version, device name, AVD launch timeout, app package and app activity is something which I hope is clear to you all. Now let us have a look at the code. So this code is supposed to do what, which I'm going to show you right now, and you guys are going to try it on your systems. This code is going to basically open the emulator. On that emulator, it will open the calculator application. On that calculator application, it will basically be performing the addition operation of whatever digits you have chosen, for example 5 plus 6 or whatever operation you have chosen, and you can automate it. So let's have a look at the script. So I created a project, APM project. Okay. Let me first show you the script and then I will show you the dependencies which you have to add. So the first step is create a Java project, call it with some name. Inside it, create a folder which says that right now we are automating native apps. Inside it, create a Python script, say native emulator.py, so that we know that we are trying to emulate we are working on a native application for an emulator. Why don't you guys do all this? Create a, not a Java project, I'm so sorry. Create a Python project. Inside it, create a native app folder. Inside it, create an empty Python file. Please do till here, and then I will tell you if there are any dependencies which you have to add, etc. Just do it till here. Here. I hope you guys have already installed APM by using the pip commands. Okay, great. So now this is how your script looks like. Have a look at it. You say import unit test. Right now we are not making use of it. So this statement is not useful right now, but nevertheless write it because we will modify the same script later. Then you say from APM import WebDriver. Then you create this desired capabilities hash or dictionary, where inside this dictionary you provide these different values. Platform name, platform version, device name, AVD launch timeout, app package, app activity. So this is your desired capabilities hash which you have created. A desired capability dictionary which we have created, okay? Then you invoke your remote WebDriver. Before you invoke your remote WebDriver, you have to see that it is being passed a URL. This URL is that of a APM server. So what you are passing in here is you are passing the URL of APM server and the desired capabilities object. These are the two things you are doing. So before you run your script, your APM server should be launched. So I'm launching my APM server. By default, the server listens on the port 4723. And it is listening on a local host. Okay. So your APM server is started. So started, this is what this line is doing. I've explained what these lines are doing. Then you use the command driver dot find element. We are trying to find the element by using the ID property, and we put it here the resource ID properties which we have captured one by one. And then we are performing the operation on it, which is effectively the click operation. So I'm saying identify the element 5, click on it, plus 6 equal to. Then in line number 21, I am telling to capture the result value which has been generated by saying driver dot find element by ID result dot text. So the result value is captured. Then I am going to print the result. Then I say if the result value captured is equivalent to 11, I want to print pass, else I want to print fail. So this is how my script is designed. I'm sharing this code with you guys. Please have a look at it. To launch your APM server, write down this script and then simply execute it. When you run your script, you should be able to launch your emulator. Remember to change the name of your AVD as per the AVD you have created. For me, it is Nexus MU, which I have created. Okay. So remember to change the name of your AVD. So when you run this program, you should be able to see the AVD being launched. Okay. You will see some activities have already started on the APM server, and it will try to perform the action of adding these digits and then providing you with the value. Sorry, it got a little hanged up. Let me change it. Let me kill it basically. I think the Soho meeting interface is making the system slow for me to run the same thing on my system right now and show you guys. So I don't want to end the meeting and run it. So why don't you guys try? This will work. And if you are facing any problem, just let me know. Okay? Try it at your end, please. So you're able to automate the scenario. That is good. Marian, what about you? Your device name is the name which you gave to your emulator. So you can start your Android Studio. Go to AVD. Go to your AVD manager. It will show you the list of your virtual devices. Okay. This will help you. Go ahead and then create another Marian. Okay. Create another AVD device because you have already done it. You have already taken the snapshot by the UI automator, etc. So go ahead and repeat those steps, create a new device and perform this exercise. If you still have an issue, we will have a look at it tomorrow. Okay? So we have learned how we can run the work on emulator. Now this you guys have to try on your own. That I would like you guys to run the same example but on your device. For this, only your desired capabilities will change. So note down, these would be your desired capabilities. And in the device name, instead of the name of your emulator, you will provide your device ID, which you can fetch by using ADB devices. Once your device is connected to your system, and when you run ADB devices, you will be able to see the list of devices available along with their IDs. So put the ID of your device in here. Okay. So this is something which I want you guys to try on your own. Will you guys do it? Fine. So that's all we have for today. So we will discuss about if you face any issues tomorrow. If you guys don't, we will move on to our next concept. So please try out these things. So Samir has already done with emulator. With the device, all you have to do is connect the device, run ADB devices command and put this command, and that's it. You should be able to run the same scenario on a device as well. Okay. But there is a small catch. It could be very much possible that in your device, the objects of the app do not hold the same resource ID because they might be on a different Android platform or something like that. So I hope that you have now gained enough information to debug such a scenario and correct it. So if you face any such issue, try out these steps, okay? And more we will discuss tomorrow when we meet. So are we all good for today? Okay then. Thank you so much guys for your efforts today. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the session. Take care. Bye everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.